Please rise to welcome the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Ard Vera Crianani Dálaí. This award is very much an international one, through both the nomination and judging processes. No award process can happen without the expertise and commitment of the judges. Megan Delahunt, Carlo Gebler, Ian Sansom, Iglika Vasileva, and Juan Pablo Villalobos were the judges for this year's award.
The International Dublin Literary Award has come of age as we mark 21 years since it was born. A child of an earlier time, resulting from former Lord Mayor Gay Mitchell's task force, which recommended the establishment of an International Literary Award for Dublin. Just 2 weeks ago, Dublin hosted the international gathering of members of the UNESCO Cities of Literature, cities which are, like Dublin, members of the broader UNESCO Creative Cities Network, cities which identify creativity as a strategic factor influencing sustainable urban development. 17 cities, large and small, were represented in Dublin from all parts of Europe and from Australia and the USA. I spoke to them of our pride in this award and how it has allowed Dublin to reach out on a world stage, confident in its literary heritage, but also enthused and inspired by its contemporary writers.
It is a great honour for Ard Vera, as patron of this very special award, to be the one to announce the winner of the International Dublin Literary Award each year. There have been 20 such announcements since the award was established, but there is also something else which makes this year's announcements unique. 2 years ago, the trust fund established in partnership with Impact came to an end. Dublin City Council is now the full owner and sponsor of the award. This ownership is now reflected in the title of the International Dublin Literary Award, and today's winner will be the first to receive the trophy bearing that name. And the winner is Family Life by Akhil Sharma.
Akhil Sharma, author of Family Life, has just been presented with a cheque for €100,000.
I'd like to thank the Lord Mayor, I'd like to thank the CEO of the City Council, and I'd like to thank the City Librarian. I'm also very honored that this particular jury selected my book. When I came from India to America, I'd only been to 2 libraries. One was a library which had only newspapers, and that's where unemployed people would go and look at ads for jobs. And the other was a library where the books were kept locked up. And you could look at them in the library, but you couldn't take them out. And so when I came to America and I was taken to a public library, I thought there was a trick, there must be some trick when they were saying that I could take books out of the library. I had a slightly difficult childhood. I had a great deal of illness in my family. And so I used to spend all my days in the library reading. And so to receive an honor like this by libraries is very touching. I'd like to thank the Jacksonville Public Library and the library in Delhi, the International Center Library. People have asked me, what do I intend to do with all this money? And I intend to use it to fund my next book. Writers are like drug addicts. If you give a drug addict money, he's going to buy drugs. If you give a writer money, he's going to write books. So I've been very, very lucky all through my life. I've had loving parents, really wonderful parents. My parents don't read, and my father, for example, doesn't actually believe that anybody else reads either. So if, for example, you were to say to him you had read a book, he would think you were lying and trying to make him feel bad. So when I wrote the book, when I finished it, I offered it to my parents. My mother read it, and she has read maybe 4 or 5 books in her life. And she said to me that she was confused that some of the things were true and some of the things were not. And I offered it to my father, and he said to me, "Why? I was there." You know, if you had parents like mine, you would love them also. Thank you very much.
Something that can amuse you, something that can make you cry for various reasons is going to be a book that's going to appeal, I hope, to lots and lots of people. And it's a book I think that might appeal as well, not just to connoisseurs of literature, but to people who are looking for a good read. And I think that was one of the other things that made us think this is our winner.
His book, Family Life, tells the story of a family who emigrates from Delhi to the US in the late 1970s. But rather than the new life they had dreamed of, they encounter instead great tragedy.
One of the 2 children suffers a terrible accident that leaves him brain damage, and the family has to cope with it. And so it's a story of how do you manage to be hopeful, how do you manage to continue to move forward while still having to deal with great difficulty and great responsibilities.
However, although there is great sadness in the novel, it manages to balance light with shade, containing humour as well as darker emotions.
I believe that no matter what difficulty we're in, you know, we're also always surrounded by beauty. And I wanted that life to be present. And part of bringing that life into a book is by filling it full of humor, jokes, play.